I want to get to writing computer code very quickly. But first, I'd like to say a few words about what we're doing here and what is coding. And I know whether you've done coding before or not, you have an idea of what coding is. I'm going to keep this video brief, but these are concepts I'll come back to from time to time. Of course, coding is writing stuff which the computer does, but I'd like to give you a slightly different perspective of how I like to see coding. Coding, at the end of the day, is a form of communication. It's not that different from how we humans communicate with each other. For example, at the moment, I have some thoughts, some ideas in my head, which I want you to understand. So what do? I first formulate those ideas in a way that I think my audience will understand. Then I have to translate those ideas in a language that we both understand. We're using English in this case, so I find the right words with the right grammar. You hear those words. You don't just understand the words, you understand the concepts and the ideas. That's how we communicate with other humans. Coding is very similar. There's an important difference that we're communicating with the computer. But the general idea is the same. We have an idea of what we want to do. We want to pass that idea, those thoughts, to the computer so that the computer understands what we want and does it for us. And therefore, coding is not just about learning the language. Just like good public speakers, what makes them good public speakers is not just their mastery of language. That is important as well, but it's also how they can formulate their ideas and present their ideas. Coding is exactly the same. It's a mindset where first you need to break down your ideas in a format, in a way that's compatible with how computers think or work, if you like. Once we've done that, then we have to translate that into a language that the computer understands, such as Python. So learning to code is not just learning lots of commands and learning the grammar of the language. That is important, but there's more to coding. So I like to think of coding as a mindset. It's a mindset of thinking in a different way, breaking down our ideas in a logical and systematic series of steps. And then once we've done that, we can start to translate those ideas into Python code. Here's an example I like to use to demonstrate this different mindset that's needed and why we need to think in a different way. Imagine you get home and your partner or someone at home says, dinner will be ready in 20 minutes. Can you get the tomatoes ready, please? Now, as humans, we understand all of those words and we also understand the context. The tomatoes need something done. They may be, it depends what the recipe is, right? They may need to be washed and chopped and whatever, peeled, put salt and pepper, whatever it might be. But now, imagine a different phrase, which is very similar except for one word. Dinner will be ready in 20 minutes. Can you get the children ready, please? If you look at those two English sentences, they're identical except for one plural noun has been replaced with another plural noun. But we humans understand that the context is different. Clearly, what you need to do to get your children ready is very different to what you might need to do to get the tomatoes ready. We understand the context of that from our years of experience of understanding the world. This is the sort of context that the computer doesn't have. And when we communicate with the computer, we have to be very clear on our intent. And that's why we have to use a programming language which removes all of this ambiguity. Everything in Python has a very specific meaning. We don't need to use the context of understanding what get the tomatoes ready means and what get the children ready means. These are situations we can never have in programming. And this is what I mean by its mindset. This is a small example of how we need to think in a way that is compatible with how computers work and think.